All right.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollos, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Do Champions. FanDuel, the official sports book of Do Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Do Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.
Welcome back to another episode of the Combat Zone. We're your hosts, Alex, Miley, and Randall. What's up, fellas?
Going on. Victory Monday.
Yes.
Backups.
Yeah.
The Jets are just that bad. I kept telling people, I'm like, our backups will be able to beat this team. It is that bad. And it was worse than I thought. I thought we'd win by like double digits, like by like 20. I didn't think we'd dominate them like that. I thought it'd be like a 27-10, where at least they were kind of competitive.
I was kind of annoyed that they scored that touchdown in the fourth quarter, and I think the defense was as well. They're like, once they got to the 20, you could see the defense kind of throwing their arms up, like throwing a semi-hissy fit because they wanted the shutout.
We had more touchdowns than they had passing yards till like 3 minutes left in the second. We had more points than they had passing yards till like halfway in the third.
Yeah, I think Aaron
hit
Glenn,
over 100 yards till the fourth.
I think Aaron Glenn is just a bad coach. I thought he was a bad pull when they got him. I know that I get the point of bringing him in as a former player and all this other stuff, but he's never coached a good defense in Detroit. Their defense was better this year, in my opinion, even though they had I think they had quite a few injuries going through it, but they were never that great. I feel like he's lost the locker room in year one. I don't think that they really respect him. It doesn't feel like they do anyway. He got rid of their two best players on the whole team. I mean, I know that's not just him, but I'm sure he got consulted on those ideas as well.
I mean, it was smart though for them to get rid of those players. They now have 2 firsts and a semi-early and 2 top half seconds. And then they have 4 top 50 picks this year, and they're going to have 4 top 50 picks next year.
They also had that similar, almost the same exact thing when they drafted Zach Wilson. They had like back-to-back years where they had 4 in the top 100 or 6 in the top 100 to be able to pick. They went with Zach Wilson. They did not develop Zach Wilson, and then
that's the issue. If they hit on the quarterback,
exactly.
If they would have drafted the right quarterback and they didn't have Zach Wilson, they would be a consistent playoff team because they hit on a lot of those draft picks. Granted, they ended up trading 2 of them away. They just did. But they hit on a lot of those draft picks. They have pieces. It's just they miss in the quarterback. So I get why what's the point in them taking the quarterback now? And by the time they're competitive in 2 to 3 years, those guys are going to be towards the back end of their prime. Now you can if you hit on these picks again, you can get guys on cheap contracts and you can actually build a pretty good team. I mean, they're keeping some of those picks around. Like they still got Garrett Wilson. They have a pretty decent offensive line. Like that offensive supporting cast is not awful for a rookie to step into. Like they have pieces. They have a bona fide wide receiver 1. They have a decent offensive line. They have, even if Breece Hall walks, like they still have decent running backs, a decent tight end, some high upside wide receivers. Like they have pieces. It's just the defense is terrible and the quarterback's terrible. And so if they can fix the quarterback in the draft, then they can put those assets back into the defense, and they can be competitive.
I would say Dante Moore is a guy that needs a year or 2 before he can be NFL ready. So that's kind of perfect in that Jets boat. Just like we did with Josh Allen, be like, hey, you can lose. We don't care. We just want you to improve.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not like he'll be in the Tennessee situation of this past year where it's just like, no matter what you do, where the rest of your team is actively going to screw you.
And you could argue they hit on the quarterback with Sam Darnold, but they just did not.
But the Jets organization, good point as well, right? Yeah, like track record says, even if they get somebody, it ain't gonna work.
And it's not gonna work because it's so poor. Yeah.
Yeah, they also need to get better coaching.
And now we're back to Aaron Glenn though. That's the issue.
They also exactly. They also didn't have the assets that they had around Darnold. Like the assets, I think this is a better offensive supporting cast now than they ever gave Darnold.
Well, it took them this long to get a proper offensive line. They kept drafting
legitimate wide receiver 1.
Right.
Who was his wide receiver 1 when he was on the Jets? What was it? I can't remember.
I don't remember. Was it?
Oh my God. Was it?
Was it Robbie Anderson?
Yeah, I think it was Robbie Anderson was the best wide receiver he ever played with.
Yeah, and they had a bad defense back then too. They didn't have the dogs there now.
Washed Le'Veon Bell. They gave Le'Veon Bell all this money and he sucked. The offensive line. Now at least they have legitimate weapons. They have, and because Mason Taylor showed a lot of flashes as a rookie, he could be a solid tight end, and they have a legitimate offensive line. So this is the best supporting cast a rookie QB is going to be walking into from the Jets since Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, that's fair.
I totally agree.
It's got the bloodline, so he can do it.
This is not saying, but like offensively, this is easily the best supporting cast they've had since then.
Oh yeah, I would agree. And they even got rid of Lazard recently too. Like I think they're just dumping assets. I think they're just trying to completely take it down to the studs.
Except for like their young offensive guys like
Garrett
Wilson, Mambu, Fashanu. Like those are your cornerstones you need for. Like you can trade away defensive pieces because they're not going to hurt or help your quarterback when he's developing. You don't want to trade away your offensive pieces because that's what you need to help develop the quarterback. So they definitely traded the right pieces away.
Who's their OC? Do we know?
It was the passing game coordinator from the Lions. He brought him. Let me look.
Tanner Engstrand.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about them, but I think they're kind of a nightmare team. Like I would be super disappointed having to root for that. When you have nothing real, the worst time to watch football is when you have a team that doesn't have developing players that you want to follow. So if you don't have a quarterback, it's not even a sniff of one on the roster, and then you have nobody else, and you're getting your ass kicked every single week. You know, that's like the worst feeling in the world. That takes me back to like Alex Van Pelt in the early 2000s.
I can relate to that.
Man, Van Pelt,
at least right now the Sabres kind of look on the up. But I can definitely relate to what the Jets are going.
There was a time, Miley, before your time, when we were between Rob Johnson and Bledsoe, where we had to start Alex Van Pelt for a whole season in like 2000, maybe 2001. And it was the hardest season ever I had to watch. There was no hope. Like at least with like Fitzpatrick, we knew he wasn't probably going to be like this elite franchise quarterback, but it was fun to watch.
For sure.
He had Stevie Johnson, so they put up good numbers. Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
some excitement.
We did have the Kyle Orton year that was the reason we missed the playoffs. Like that was a playoff level roster with one of the worst quarterbacks. We had an elite defense and we had some weapons. I think we had Shady. That was the first year of Shady, or maybe we got Shady the year after. But we had Sammy Watkins as a rookie when people actually thought he was worth something. Robert Woods, Marquise Goodwin. Like there was a decent wide receiving core there. Offensive line was decent.
Was he here with Sammy? Was he here with Sammy?
Yeah.
I thought it was like 2013.
No, it was 2014. EJ, because he replaced EJ Manuel after like 4 games in 2014 because Manuel was that bad.
Yeah,
and that was Sammy's rookie year when he ended up being like 10 yards short of hitting 1,000 as a rookie and showed a lot of promise until his foot injuries.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he was a good. I thought he was a fine draft pick at the time. I know that there were other guys who were better, but I thought he was fine to choose.
We could have drafted Khalil Mack. It literally lined up, went to UB. Were the Bills, and then we did. Granted, I get why we did it. We had Mario Williams, who we just gave all this money. Jerry Hughes. We ended up having we had the best pass rush in football that year. So get why they did it, get him. But at the same time,
BPA.
My second favorite drought game was that year, that 2014 game when we beat the Packers without scoring an offensive touchdown.
Oh, really?
Because we had a safety, a punt return touchdown, and 4 field goals, and we won 21 to 13 or something. And Bakari Rambo had 2 interceptions, and our defensive line just absolutely dominated.
Forgot we had Rambo for a couple years.
I know. For a year. Rodgers won MVP that year, and we made him look like he was terrible because that defense was so good.
So is that your favorite drought game? That's probably a good segue.
Number 2, the favorite one I went to was when we beat New England for the first time.
Yeah, and that was easily mine.
Well, because I was at that game, and earlier in the morning, my dad tells me that we're gonna go to every home New England game from here on out until they win, and then they won that game. And that year there was actually hope. We started 3-0, then went to 5-2. Then Fitz messes up his shoulder, and the team falls apart, and we ended up 6-10. I think we won 1 game the year.
Yeah, that's right.
That was depressing. It's like, maybe this is the year, and then Fitz injured his shoulder, played through it, and completely fell off.
What's your favorite, Randall?
That was mine. I had season tickets then. I had season tickets for 5 years. That was during that time. Easily what I was with 8 of my buddies. Section 142. Just incredible vibes. It was nice out. It was good weather. It was incredible.
Oh yeah, it was week 3.
Yeah, I was sunburnt just from looking at the big screen.
He said Bills Colts 2015 week 1 was his favorite. Maybe I should say, what's your best game? You've only experienced the drought, really, Miley. What about overall best games you've ever watched? Not in the stadium, but just that were played at the stadium. Because I'm sure Randall and I haven't gone as many games as you.
All right. Well, basically, since 2016, I've been to every single game, and even before that, I probably went to 20. So they're all going to be basically games I've gone to. Yeah. Because most of the good games that we've had since we've been good. But I remember that 2017 snow game. That was a fun one. Could barely even see the field. Shady McCoy legacy game. We won. That was the only game I think we won with Nathan Peterman as our quarterback.
Yep. That was a cool game.
Yeah, that was a good game. We didn't need him to do anything. I think he completed 5 passes, but we had 150 yards of the ground with Shady. No one was scoring. That was a fun one. Obviously, the perfect game against the Patriots. That's up there
for sure.
Baltimore week 1 this year.
I went to that one. That was the best game I've ever been to personally. The best game I've ever seen on TV at Highmark was definitely the 35-3 comeback against the Oilers. I was 9 years old, I think.
Yeah.
I think my dad was.
Thing I've ever seen.
My dad, I think, was at that game and then left and then came back in or whatever. They let him come because
when you could do that.
Yeah,
glass beer bottles and everything.
He's one of the million that showed up. One of the few million that came back. Yeah. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen in sports, as far as it felt like divine intervention in some ways. I was 9, so I was very upset. We were losing. I turned it off. My mom was in the other room, and she watched it for me. I was a little bit of a mama's boy, I guess, and she came back in the room and she was like, "They're coming back," and I'm like, "No, they're not." And I don't care, Mom. I turned it on. It was 35-17, and I was like, "All right, well, I can watch this now at least." And then they scored again, and then they scored again, and it was it was really the comeback. it's shocking. It wasn't a second half comeback. It was a third quarter comeback. Like the first play of the third quarter, they get a pick six. So it may add an insult to injury, made it 35-3. And I was just like, this is awful. And then literally we came back. The majority of the points were done in the third quarter. So it was really just a 1 quarter, like 30-point barrage. It was the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously that was before my time, so I wasn't.
That was before your time.
Oh yeah.
What about
the
you,
Bengals
Randall?
game this year was also pretty insane. Chiefs game last year, that Josh Allen, probably my two favorite like pure moments I've seen in that stadium would be the Josh Allen 4th and 2 and the Christian Benford pick six.
Yeah, that's
definitely.
Cool.
I think for me, probably the perfect game was the best. Just because, again, when I had seasons during the droughts, every game was Sunday 1:00. It was nice when Buffalo started playing well to be able to have home playoff games because I was so not used to how the schedule would work. And then the home and being able to dominate in Buffalo Stadium was actually a good experience in reverting, like basically just washing away the drought.
Yeah. That was actually I would say that's maybe my second favorite moment. Like, was winning against the Dolphins. It was the Dolphins, and then watching the after that game, being able to watch the Bengals win against the Ravens last minute. It's about Boyd. That was probably one of the cooler moments. That felt as close as I could feel to like a Super Bowl, like how my emotions would be, because it had been so long since you made the playoffs, and that was very unlikely as well. I mean, remember, that was the year we started Peterman randomly in the middle of the year against the Chargers. It looked awful.
6 interception game.
And the thing is, it was valid to start him in that game because of how bad Tyrod was the week before. I remember that Saints game the week before. We actually still have an ongoing joke in our section with people that sit by us because Tyrod was playing really bad like midseason. So it was like me and my uncle and my dad just kept yelling, "Put in Peterman." And then people below us were like, "No, don't put him in. Trust Tyrod." And then they finally put him in, and he sucks. So then after that, we just decided we're gonna keep saying it because why not? Just to be dicks. So we've been saying it to this day. Like every time Josh makes a bad play or something, we'll yell, "Put in Peterman," and like basically no one understands it besides like 4 people that sit like 2 rows in front of us. And like this last game, since it was the last game at the stadium, we kept hammering away. But it was like a funny inside joke that came from that.
Nice.
So Carl says 2017 Bills were accused of tanking roster. It was way worse than 15-16. I kind of agree with that. Like I didn't. Yeah. I think they initially were trying to tank, and then we came out the gates pretty good. And then they're like, all right, well, we don't want to lose games. I mean, no one really tanks in the NFL. They just strip the roster and they make it really difficult.
They were rebuilding because it was Bean first taking over. Like, I want my imprints on this team.
Yeah. And I remember getting angry because I'm all for tanking if you're really bad. And I was like, dude, we're never going to get a quarterback. And Bean's best thing he ever did as a GM was pulling all those strings to get Cordy Glenn traded and getting two first rounders and then moving up to 12 and then coming back in the round getting Edmonds and getting with the 17th or 18th pick, whatever the number was.
Moving up to 12 allowed us to basically
the 2 seconds to move
up.
It allowed the first.
Yeah, we had 22. We gave up 21 and Cordy to get a 12. We kept 20, or kept 21.
Right.
And then we used the 2 seconds to get from 12 up.
Right.
And getting up to 12 allowed us to be like, all right, we can now sit and see which QB falls because obviously Browns are taking a QB. Yeah. Jets were expected Jets were expected to take a QB. So it's like, all right, we can kind of sit and wait which QB that we like the most. And then they can fall to a spot where now we don't have to give up a first round pick to be able to get in the striking distance. So his maneuvering in to be able to land Josh without giving up a first was definitely.
And I still say Josh's immature tweets from when he was 14, 15, or why we got him. I thought he would have been number one. Everybody was talking about it. Oh, he was doing movie quotes and TV quotes from I can't remember the shows he's doing.
Modern Family
and a bunch of other stuff. It was more than one show, but either way, that boosted his ability because I think that the Browns are going to take him if it wasn't for that. I think it was just a bad look, so they stuck with Mayfield because it was always between Allen and Mayfield. Yeah. Darnold was always
the Jets kind of just really loved Darnold. I feel like the Jets were kind of stuck in with Darnold, and it would have been Allen 1, Darnold 3. I think they they were kind of was like, all right, they're stuck with they're getting Darnold. They really want him, and the Browns are like, we're between Mayfield and Allen, and I think Allen's
Mayfield. I heard Mayfield
final year wasn't as good as his sophomore year. I feel like I feel like Allen's numbers were better as junior year than senior year, or sophomore year than junior year. He kind of like numbers wise took a step back, so I think that might have been part of it. While Mayfield was coming off a Heisman year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm
pretty away.
When I've talked to Browns guys, it was Baker almost all the way, and I think there were smoke screens with other quarterbacks, but they had their heart set on Baker for a while.
The funny thing was the whole knock on Allen. I remember Aikman talking about it. All these people were talking about it. You can't fix accuracy. If he's at 59%, he'll never hit 60 in the pros. I remember hearing that. And it's completely, he's at 70% now for the second time in his career.
You can definitely fix accuracy.
Yeah, and now it is hard to fix accuracy. You have to work.
Exactly. That's the thing. I think they're not wrong.
I think what's harder to fix is football IQ. Like if they're just not cerebral, I think that's much harder to fix because it's a lot hard. I think because when it becomes accuracy, it's a lot of just mechanics. So you have to work at it. Cerebral, you either you got it or you don't. You can kind of coach. You can kind of coach it open. You can coach players open. But like if you just don't have it, like Josh just always seemed to have it. And Josh's bad plays don't come from him not knowing what's going on. It's him just thinking he can make any play in the world because he usually can. Yeah. And it's not like not like, oh, he's so dumb. Why would he do that? It's because he can make that play, so he tries to make it. And sometimes it doesn't work out. And then sometimes we get throws to Shakir in the Bengals game.
Yeah.
I don't know about football IQ. I don't think it's a you have it or you don't. I think it's just a bigger process, and the issue is that the NFL is too impatient at that point. It's really there's too many quarterbacks that need more than 2 years to develop, but the NFL is too impatient because the top 5 teams that pick every year, their coaches are basically too close to getting fired, and then they just reset and go.
And that's where you need an owner to be like, I've always thought the same thing in college football. How are you going to, I guess maybe not so much with the transfer portal these days, but like, it was always like, how are you firing a coach after 2 years? Let his recruits come in and actually play for a couple years and develop before you see what you got. And it's the same thing in the NFL. I mean, sometimes there's coaches bad enough. If they're bad enough, you fire them after 1 year. But if you're not going to fire them after 1 year, because they're that bad, I think they deserve to at least have 3 to 4 years to let their picks and their players kind of come together. I mean, obviously there's scenarios like the Raiders. You're firing Pete Carroll makes sense. They're such a dumpster fire. Why would you keep an old guy around? Urban Meyer with the Jags. That makes a lot of sense. Like there's scenarios where it makes sense, but I've always never understood that why why owners don't sit there and be like, I will let this play out instead of just continue rinse and repeat of just sucking.
Yeah, well, I think
as a small segue to that is also, which is perfect with the college, as you mentioned it, is because we also can't grade NFL drafts within the year when, Bills fans and all fans get super.
Like
you're mute. You're mute.
Damn it.
Yeah, you're back. I think you're back. Maybe not. I was going to say it's kind of interesting to see Mike McDaniel to basically have guaranteed job security right now. He's helping them pick the new GM, and Dolphins fans are losing it.
I think it's smart. Obviously they need a new QB. I want Mike McDaniel to coach my new QB. Look at what he was able to do with Tua before it just became impossible.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I think it is questionable. McDaniel's decisions are questionable in his in-game management. But I do think that you're right. He did turn a guy like Tua into a player that people were kind of fooled by in some respects, Yeah.
Same way Sean Payton's doing with Bo Nix.
Carl said they're held back by Tua. That's true. I do think they're held back by it. I think that up until they gave the Patriots everything they could handle this week until the second half. But I think that Ewers has some potential there that he's able to be a good fit in that offense. Now they won't stick with him probably because they're going to want to draft I don't know if they'll draft a guy actually.
I don't think they'll be able to this year.
Yeah,
I don't because it looks like Mendoza and Dante Moore I kind of like I think they could both develop into being decent quarterbacks. But after that, there's not really anyone there. And then you have players who could have potentially been draft picks that are. Like Chambliss, he's someone that's a high upside guy, but if he gets granted that 6th year, he already said he's going back. And and next year's draft class, I get it's always you can't look ahead, there's just so many players that were expected to go into this draft class that are going back another year, and I think next year's class is just regardless going to be deeper. Yeah. Even maybe it always looks better the next year, but I think that next year just looks again the same thing that happened
every year.
Next year that happened this year, yeah. But it just looks a lot deeper. And if you're a GM, you're not looking at just guys being drafted this year. You're going to see tape of other guys, and if you like the quarterbacks that are potentially going to be in next year's class, why would you? Or if you like them more, why would you go after a quarterbback this year?
Or they might go trade Tua and they get a free agent potentially.
Yeah. But you need
they have to look, get rid of Tua.
You need to look at what last year's predictions were and what this year's predictions were. Last year, the top 3 quarterbacks were Drew Allar, Cade Klubnik, and Garrett Nussmeier. And that went out the window.
Yeah.
Well, I actually hated all. I like Klubnik a little bit, but I thought anyone who had any hope for Drew Allar was just kidding themselves.
I agree.
I've watched a decent amount of Penn State games because they were in a lot of competitive games. And every single time they played a good team, I'm like, holy crap, Allar sucks. It's just Singleton and the other Allen just carrying them. He's not good. Yeah. And then Nussmeier, I watched some LSU games. I remember watching him against Florida last year. I'm like, I don't see Nussmeier either.
Nussmeier was good. He had his elbow injury, and that affected his whole entire mechanics. He's a QB coach's son. Like he's good. He could figure it out in the NFL. His injury limited his arm strength and completely botched his LSU.
He's very limited arm strength wise. That's the only thing. I don't know what he would turn into as an NFL player, or if he can even get through the injuries and be back to 100%. But I don't know how bad it is. But he's a player that I watch and I'm like, it's just too limited for me to want to invest a top 10 draft pick.
For sure. Pre-injury, it was much better.
But then you also have players like Arch Manning. I think he played a lot better at the end of the year than he did to start the year. And he was, even though he wasn't always putting up crazy stats, he was making a lot of even in that Ohio State game, he made a couple of throws that are that's an NFL level throw. If he can chain those together more, on that final drive, I think he completed 1 out of 5 passes, but that one pass, he fit it perfectly in between the corner and safety. It's how does he complete that? It's he's showing those flashes, and throughout the year, it seemed like there was more and more and more. So I kind of like him a lot. Next, Chambliss, I mean, he's an absolute playmaker. I get he's got his limitations, but I think a player like him coming back also helps next year's draft class. But then again, if you're a GM, you're looking at all these guys, and it's all right, maybe last year when everyone liked Allar and Klubnik and Nussmeier, you're looking at these guys I don't like them that much. I'm going to go after a 2025 guy.
Right.
You could be, if you're the Dolphins, you do the same thing. Do I like the 2026 guys or do I like the 2027 guys more? If you like the 27 guys,
2027 guys will be better, regardless of what I said before.
Their fans are going to wreck them for keeping Tua for another year.
Sellers, Sorsby, Hoover.
Oh, you got Sellers, who I thought played better than the stats said.
So we'll see how Josh Hoover from TCU works with Cignetti. That's another one. Hoover is a high IQ, good pocket passing thrower going to Cignetti.
What about Norsby going to Texas Tech?
Sorsby, you mean? Sorsby.
Yeah.
Sorsby, yeah. Sorsby at Cincinnati, very dope. Just needs a lot. Just needs another offseason to work on himself. But he should climb this year. You talked about Chambliss. I hope he does get another one. You got Sellers. You got Manning.
Raiola.
Right. We'll see. I cannot believe Raiola didn't go to Texas Tech. That would have been perfect for him.
Oh my God. Yeah, the Patrick Mahomes train.
His jersey's close enough now, so that's why he's going to stick around. What are you guys thinking? Let's transition into the injuries. The worst part of the game on Sunday. The news is Harrison's out this week, and then Prater's day-to-day, which I think they still bring in a kicker. So I guess, what are your thoughts on what do you think it was a problem having those guys in the game? And then also, what do you think's going to be the ultimate solution going forward for the playoffs? Because we don't have any time left.
I hate people that are mad at Bean or McDermott for the Harrison injury, because please explain who should have been in there. And if you say Jamarcus Ingram, then tell me who should have been in Darnell Savage's spot. Did you want Cam Lewis in there?
Ingram's
that means Teron would have been. Yeah, but I'm saying There are people like, oh, imagine if we still had Ingram.
Yeah.
Then we wouldn't have had Savage. Then Cam Lewis would have had to play safety instead of Poyer. And then Teron would have been in there. Who would you rather have had in there? The rookie who needs snaps or the veteran who has not shown a lot of flashes this year and is injury prone? Do you want him even more injured in the playoffs? No. I'd rather have Max playing. And then, or Trey or Max, same thing. Do you want the older injury prone guy, or do you want the rookie who needs snaps? No, you want Max in there instead of Trey. You couldn't call up Dane Jackson. You already had the practice squad elevations. And you can only call up 2 guys from the practice squad each week. And you needed it for Judon because you got to see what you have out of him. And you needed a third edge since Groot and Bosa weren't playing, which I think most fans would agree with. Shouldn't have played them. And you needed a third linebacker because Shaq Thompson, Milano, and Bernard weren't playing, which most fans would agree. None of them should have been playing either. So it leaves you with who should have been there. You can't say Sam Franklin because he was already on the field when Max got injured. He was already in Trey's place. So that leaves you with no one else. There was just no roster logistics that could have worked out for us to have another corner. It's just unlucky. That's all it is. It's unfortunate that it happened. There's no blame to go anywhere. It is just unfortunate. I wish we could have just not played the fourth quarter. Wish the Jets would have just said, we forfeit. Just we didn't have to risk the injuries. Yeah. And then with Prater, I'd rather have
run with 4 tight ends.
Yeah.
Okay, you're that one. If you want to get mad,
I would have took
if you want to get mad at, okay, that'll give you if you're like, we should have cut Latu, signed another corner just so we could have had.
That's so hindsight.
But then also,
we did.
Hindsight.
Well, we did.
Also, the thing
He's
is,
on our roster. Slay.
But here, but then we ended up replacing Slay with Savage, which brings you back. If Slay or Ingram's on this roster, we don't have Savage, which means Teron is most likely playing in that game. Yeah. And then also the Latu thing. So, I mean, unless you wanted to play Jackson Hawes basically all the snaps, Knox and Kincaid were both going to be out pretty early. They just wanted to get a little bit of run. So I get why you kept Latu, so you weren't just playing Jackson Hawes, because Jackson Hawes is also very intricate to this offense with his blocking ability and also being able to catch a couple passes. So I also get why they kept the 4th tight end because of Knox and Kincaid's injuries. You didn't want them playing much. And I think playing Hawes all of the snaps, imagine if we cut Latu to sign a corner and then we played Hawes all of the snaps and then he got injured. People would have been like, why is Jackson Hawes in there?
Right. Mm-hmm. It's a hindsight situation. I agree. It's Max Hairston is a backup cornerback. He was not the starting cornerback. If he was the starting cornerback, he would not have been in the game. But Trey White was playing better, and he is the starting quarterback. It is what it is. It's unfortunate that it happened, but I mean, I'm with you. There's nothing else you could have done in that spot.
Be ready.
And then
I'll say this real quick. Trey's been playing very well if he can keep it up and work out. Yes, that's true. However, he wasn't playing well until Max Harrison came back, really.
Yeah,
that's an issue. Taking pressure off of him. That is part of it. He also wasn't very healthy to start the year. Didn't he miss some time to start the year or whatever? So
he did get that
he was playing through an injury.
Or knee injury.
Right around the time when Max came back was also right around the time when he got healthy. So how much of it? Max definitely had an impact, but also part of it is him getting healthy.
The problem is we switched to a lot of cover 3, and that's probably Trey going back into the Buffalo system, trying to think that what was old is what we're going with, and he had to switch how to run the coverages, and I think he got back up into his high IQ by week 10.
And the problem too is that Trey situationally is fine when we're in these scenarios where we can play a cover 2 or some cover 3 or whatever. But when we were having to play man-to-man, when we're playing receivers like T. Higgins, larger players, Brian Thomas Jr., he's going to struggle. Max Harrison's much better against those guys, and then they can rotate the 2 in when they need Max. And I think that took a lot off of his plate, generally speaking. It's a big loss.
They're going to have to still rotate.
I have a feeling, though, that Benford is just going to travel with BTJ.
I think so too.
And then I think Trey I think Trey matches up very well with the Jacoby Myers type of corner or type of wide receiver.
I hope so.
He's not a burner. He's not a very fast guy. He's not T. Higgins. Parker Washington is probably the wide receiver I'm most worried about in that offense because he has the explosion down the field. Like Jacoby Myers and BTJ aren't bad receivers, but I think we've already seen Benford lock up BTJ last year. And then Trey White, those are the type of like the route running, not super fast guys that not like a super quick or fast. Like Jacoby Myers is someone who's going to work through you and has good hands and is going to catch at the point of the attack. That's kind of where Trey matches up well. the quick guys or the speed guys or the real big body guys. Like the athletic freaks is where he struggles because he's just not athletic enough. So I think he matches well against Myers. But yeah, Parker Washington's kind of the one where it's
tough.
like,
yeah,
It's
the benefit
in a weird spot.
Other than Parker Washington, the benefit of our cornerbacks is that we should just run a lot of trail. Trevor Lawrence loves out routes and the middle of the field. So Benford trailing Brian Thomas Jr. the whole entire time, I think, is ideal because he can cover him in that aspect.
He locked him up last year too, by the way.
Yep, and then just covering the middle of the field, running trail on Jacoby Myers, I think will work out well with Trey. And then hopefully, Shaq Thompson is a big one this game, taking in the middle of the field and being the commander. I think that's probably the number one defensive player to watch for to make it the biggest impact.
Yeah, got to find a way to confuse Lawrence, force him to revert back to how he started the year. Jags form one was fluky, took off after the trade. I think this is a good transition with the Jags and just kind of the matchup as well. Well, let's talk about Prater first. Who do you who's out there? Who we bring in already? Was it
Younghoe Koo?
Koo, yeah.
I know that.
He's probably the best option, I would imagine.
Yeah,
because
if we're talking about
back.
If we're talking about pure talent, the best option is Tucker, but I want Justin Tucker nowhere near
nothing.
Yeah,
that's not
I'm saying like just pure. Like I'm not saying I want him, but if if he didn't have his allegations, and we're talking about who was just the best,
still be on the Ravens. Yeah,
that's also possible. But I'm saying like just pure like who is the best kicker available? It's Tucker, but I want him nowhere near this organization
for sure
because of what he did. So that obviously takes him out. So yeah, I'm thinking probably Younghoe Koo is probably our best option.
Yeah, I agree. He's day to day. I think that was my only problem with the game. I think because it was not a meaningless game because now we have a chance to have an AFC Championship game in Buffalo, but it was Prater and Kincaid playing so much.
Kincaid was wild.
That was wild. He played for a while.
I understand why both though. Like Prater, I guess you want to test it out, and it's better he got injured in the meaningless game than imagine he got injured in the third quarter next week, and now we have to start going for two every time. So like I get why they're like, all right, clearly he wasn't ready. If he re-injured it, that means we can go find someone, and it's better than him getting injured mid-game. I wish they would have just let Ray Davis make a kick so we could have tested him out as the emergency kicker in case Prater gets in or kicker gets injured in the game. And then the Kincaid one, if they felt he was healthy enough to play, I get why they had him out there running some routes to get some rust knocked off because he didn't play last week.
And I don't think he needs
play a whole lot again.
No, I disagree. I kind of disagree. He looked good, so he could have just done that next week, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he looks fine. I don't think he needs extra time though.
I think you run a couple of routes, you have a couple of catches just to get a little bit of momentum for the playoffs. So your first game isn't in almost a month.
Yeah, it could have been, up to Kincaid a little bit, and he might have been like, "Hey, I want to go out there," sort of thing, if the doctors cleared him. So
Wisnowski looked good in kickoffs.
Yeah.
I thought he was fine. I thought he has plenty of leg strength. I was worried he wasn't because it's a totally different mechanism, punting and kicking. But most guys who can do one can do the other a little bit. But I thought he looked really good kicking the ball, getting into the landing zone, not having to worry about it all that much. He's been actually a pretty good player for us, actually. I know that it was kind of a spur of the moment thing. I think Wisnowski's been a solid player that we picked up. It's hard to find punters and kickers.
Punters we had starting the year. It is annoying that we're having this punting and kicking carousel.
Insane.
But whatever. At least I guess it's better to have those be issues than other positions be issues, even though we have other positions. But
sure.
Better to have a bad kicker and punter than a bad quarterback, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
To be like the Raiders, they have a great kicker and a great punter, but they're terrible.
Right.
Let's talk about Poyer and I guess Daquan Jones is probably more of an easy coming back. Poyer has been out for a couple games. I wonder if they're just giving him rest or not, though. What are your thoughts?
I have a feeling. Did he practice at all last week?
I don't remember. I don't think
he did not. I thought he did not, but that was still almost in an expectation that he wasn't playing because of it was week 18. That's the vibe I got out of Poyer. I don't know if there's any questions asked on the podium for McDermott last week about Poyer.
Poyer's missed 3 games. So that means if they thought it was serious, they probably would have thrown him on IR so he could have opened up a DB spot.
Yeah.
The fact they didn't throw him on IR because, I think the last game he played was the Patriots game, right?
Yeah, I think so. And by the way, Max is a high ankle, right? It's got to be.
He didn't say. McDermott didn't say.
It said 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's a high ankle. That's not a low ankle. A low ankle, I can come back in the same week usually.
Yeah. So I mean,
torn.
I have a feeling though, like he'll obviously miss this week. I think he also would miss next week just because the potential teams we're playing wide receiver cores are worse than the Jags. Like, we have the Patriots. It's Diggs. No, we can't play the Patriots. It's the Steelers. It's not after no one. It's the Texans, who is Nico or no one, or it's the Broncos, who's Cortland Sutton or no one.
Right.
Those are the only 3 teams we can play.
Yeah.
It depends on
we can
who
survive
wins between the Jags or the Patriots and the Chargers.
I think this is the more complicated week this week for this problem. We just got to survive.
I mean, to be fair, I think the 3 best teams in the AFC, and I think by a bit of a gap, is us, the Chargers, and the Jags. Or not the Chargers. Us, the Texans, and the Jags. Yeah, I think they're the clear top 3, and then I think the middle 3, Chargers, Denver, Patriots, and then obviously the worst team is the Steelers. I mean, but I think this Steelers team is a little bit better than Steelers teams of years past. Because I think they actually have a competent quarterback with legit experience who can sling the ball around, and they have probably the best skill positions they've had in a bit, and the best quarterback they've had since Big Ben, since 2018 Big Ben, because 2020 Big Ben was terrible.
Well,
they're not beating the Texans though.
No, they're
not. Their
offensive
line isn't good enough.
And but I'm saying
that's the problem.
I think they have a legitimate shot. I think they're not winning. I'm not predicting them to win.
Yeah.
I think they have a legitimate shot though.
They have a chance. I think there's a chance.
They could win a 14-10 game if Cam Hayward and TJ Watt just absolutely destroy Stroud and they can't move the ball, which again, I would give them like a 15 to 20% chance. I don't think it's likely. I picked Houston to win.
Yeah.
But I think Pittsburgh keeps this game close, and I think they could pull off an upset.
Well,
they're not going to.
The thing with Houston isn't a team that blows teams out usually. They usually keep it close because their defense keeps them in it, and their offense is kind of up and down. It's not even a roller coaster. It's almost like little bunny hills. I mean, there's always it's not like this. It's more like
you
they're
hope
in the middle
for
the whole time.
Coverage on CJ Stroud. He hopes for a deep shot.
Yeah, and then Stroud has regressed over the years. I think he's an okay quarterback. Don't get me wrong. I just think he's just a guy. He's
a guy.
But again, that's why it's I think Pittsburgh.
They have a puncher's chance. There's a puncher's chance.
It's not like last year where everyone knew Baltimore was going to blow them out.
Yeah.
It's
in Pittsburgh, so that's the positive thing. If it was in Houston, I'd put it at 0. But being in Pittsburgh, you're right. But I just think with Rodgers,
if it snows,
no mobility for Rodgers and that defensive line versus Pittsburgh's offensive line. I think Rodgers is going to hate his life by halftime.
Well, yeah, if they win, it's going to be like a 13-10, 14-10 type game. They're not winning a shootout or anything. If Houston can score 2 touchdowns, I think they win that game.
Although Alec Pierce cooking Stingley this week.
He was. Alec Pierce is good. Alec Pierce is on a heater this season. He made a lot of money.
I am starting to as much as I want
to
trade for DJ Moore or trade for Michael Pittman. I'm kind of at the point where let's just side Alec Pierce and then we can keep that draft pick.
I know he is. He ended
up with over 1,000 yards, and his quarterbacks were Daniel Jones, Phillip Rivers, and Riley Leonard.
He was so consistent. That was the best part about it. It's not like he was streaky. He was just consistently open.
He might be the best
contested catches.
He's the best deep ball receiver in the league, I would say, right now. Wouldn't you? I mean, he's more consistent.
Yeah. I mean, other than the big 3, I can agree to that.
Yeah, like Jamar, Jettas.
Yeah.
Because Jettas is going to break down the field. It's just JJ McCarthy sucks.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the problem. Yeah, that's probably the problem there.
Yeah.
So outside of them and maybe CeeDee Lamb or something like that.
Let's give our matchup breakdowns on these teams. I'll go first because I just want to kind of get it out there. I think this is I tweeted about today. I think it's an interesting matchup because of the strengths and weaknesses of both of the teams are kind of offsetting each other a little bit. They're really good at stopping the run. We're a really great run team. Their pass defense is pretty poor. They're in the 20s. We need to play against a poor pass defense in order to be effective consistently, in my opinion. Well, I wouldn't say poor pass defense, but a pass defense without elite corner play. I think that's going to benefit us a lot. And they're not good at guarding tight ends. So with those things, I think that plays into our advantage a little bit. This offense, personnel-wise, isn't much different than we blew out a couple years ago or last year, right? So it's not that much different other than Jacoby Myers, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and Jacksonville's a bad rushing offense, and we're a bad rushing defense. So it almost like people were talking about this being a bad matchup for us. This is the matchup that I actually personally wanted. I didn't want to play the Texans. The Steelers would be nice, but I didn't know who they were if they were gonna win or not. I did not want to play the Ravens. I thought that matchup's bad. I think the Patriots, they're familiar with us. It'd be in their house. I'd be confident, but I wouldn't want to play them and have that pressure on it right off the bat of them. And then just if we lost to them again, I would be just so like over it, you know. And I just the familiarity they have.
Patriots fan on Twitter.
Yeah,
I think the pressure of playing the Patriots in the AFC Championship gives us the edge. Like that, our veteran, like I'd like to see if we end up seeing them in the AFC Championship. I'm kind of jacked up because then it's a third time around, and everybody in Buffalo is going to want to smack them. Like there's no way they're going to let them.
It'd be the real
before us.
It'd be the real division championship game. That's how we would view it. And if we won it, it would be like your division championship didn't mean jack shit, you know?
Right. 100%.
Yeah, that's how it feels to me. So that would be great to do that. Although the best setup here is the Chargers beating the Patriots, which would be, I think, is a puncher's chance there, even though they don't look great right now.
Don't want that to happen.
You don't?
No, but then we go into Houston.
No.
The Chargers beat the Patriots. We go into Houston next week.
No, if Pittsburgh loses, I want Pittsburgh to. If Pittsburgh wins, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Quasi home game.
Pittsburgh wins.
That's a quasi home game because it's 250 miles away.
There you go.
There, if we win that game in the Chargers division game, Chargers Broncos, you could see the Chargers winning that game hypothetically, and then they come to Buffalo for the AFC Championship. That's the script.
You're right. If Pittsburgh beats Houston, sure, I'll give you that.
Or we just go to Houston and play one hard game against Houston. We almost beat them last time and played poorly.
I do think anytime we play Houston,
we lost by 5 points and we gave up 8 sacks, which is totally out of the norm. Allen had 2 picks, which is out of the norm for this year.
Kick return touchdown.
Yeah, and the passing game actually was moving the ball against them, using our scheming up routes and things like that. Like it wasn't like we were stagnant like last year when we played them, when we just couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
you know?
The offensive line won't let that happen again. If they play Houston,
Spencer Brown is actually.
They'll be ready. I think they'll be more ready for it. They'll take it more seriously.
I think we'll have more Jack. We'll probably run a lot of 12 personnel where we have Jackson Hall just kind of chipping Will Anderson or Daniil Hunter, just kind of going back and forth between the two, chipping them, and then we have a Kincaid or a Knox running a route with the other 2 wide receivers.
Or we can lean into scheming up around their over pursuit of the quarterback because that's kind of what they do. They're just going to come at you the whole game and just using the middle to stepping up the pocket more, getting away from it, and just kind of
They don't disguise coverages. They play it. They play it. They show it. They go. And then, so you just adjust and figure it out.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree with you with Jackson.
Palmer didn't play last time we played Houston either. I don't think.
No, he did, but it was right. I think it was his first game back from the injury.
Was that the game? Oh, it was the one he came back from. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he wasn't all there, so he'll be more healthy. Although he's been.
I don't think we had Kincaid.
Yeah,
I don't think we
didn't have Kincaid. We had no Kincaid, and hampered Palmer, no Brandon Cooks either.
Yeah.
So we were our top 4 receivers and our top tight end.
Hey, Brandon Cooks, I was ready to cut him. And the last two weeks he's played anyway, I thought he's looked. I mean, he has.
There's a reason they sat him.
Yeah. There's a reason. When they did that, I was like, he's ready.
We know who our top 3 wide receivers are based on who didn't play in this game. It's Shavers, Cooks, and Kincaid, or 100%. Shavers, Cooks, and Shakir, and then Palmer and Gabe Davis are the backups, and Keon is going to be traded like Kyrie Elam did last year.
Yeah. So here's a stat line on it from the Houston game. Allen was 24 for 34, good. 253 yards, good. 0 touchdowns, 2 picks, bad, right? He also had 5 rushes, 20 yards. That's whatever. Cook did have 116 yards rushing, a touchdown against him with a 45-yarder.
That was one big explosive, though.
It was the issue is when we ran it 4 straight plays. We ran halfback dive 4 straight plays in a row.
Yeah, I thought that the game was called poorly. Shakir is the one that Shakir had 110 yards in this game.
He had the trick play in the fourth quarter. He had the trick play in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, because that's their weakness would be the slot and like their slot corner. And their linebackers are probably their weakest links. They're not bad, but they're weak.
No Kincaid.
The linebackers are weak, but they go for turnovers, and that's the kicker. Is they're 3rd in the league in turnover. Jacksonville 3rd in the league in turnovers.
Yeah.
So we just have to mindfully not turn the ball over. They're like the Bears.
No Kincaid.
Yeah, well, I also like another thing that you didn't bring up was their pass rush has actually not been that good this year, despite having one of the better passers in the league in Josh Hines-Allen and Traylon Walker. Their pass rush has actually been pretty weak this year. Which
yeah,
I was surprised to hear that.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
I think we actually match up pretty decently because one, they can't run the ball. Their run game is more built on scheme versus more like Baltimore's, where we're just gonna power you over, and we're better against scheming rushing offenses than just big body plow you over because we have a lot of guys who can penetrate gaps. We don't have guys who can hold gaps, so power running teams just run us over. But scheme running teams we do better against because we have quicker guys who can get in through gaps faster and kind of blow up the schemes a little bit. And the type of passing offense we're better against is ones where you don't have a super accurate quarterback and or elite wide receivers. Like really the only offense who just killed us through the air this year was the Bengals. And that's because they have Jamar and T. Higgins and they have Joe Burrow making insane level throws. Trevor Lawrence, I think, is good. You guys know I've been high on him all year. Sure. I'm gonna kind of take a little mini victory lap for saying that when I said people would say he's a top 10 quarterback by the end of the year, and people are. But I've always been high in T-Law, but he's never been the most accurate guy. He kind of is more of a playmaker. He's got a strong arm.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where we shine a little bit because with our corners playing a lot of trail technique, if you can make high-level throws, you can beat the trail technique with perfect placement. T-Law doesn't really have that, so it kind of plays in our advantage. On offense, not being able to run the ball isn't great, but them not being able to guard tight ends is huge for us because that's where we kill teams is with our tight ends. And then now that we have wide receivers that can legitimately take the top off with Cooks, and I still believe in Palmer because I at least saw it once against the Falcons. He's got to be getting healthier as the game's going. So we have the pieces to be able to move the ball without running it against a team like Jacksonville. So I do think we come away with the win, but it's Jacksonville is the hottest team in the league for a reason.
Well, part of it's that they played a bunch of trash teams in the last.
They did. Well, I will say they won in Denver and they blew the doors off of the Chargers. So
Denver, they
do have some quality.
Denver
wins.
and Chargers both kind of fade in and out offensively from week to week.
But they are quality wins though. You can't sit.
Yeah,
he did light up Denver's defense. So they are those ones. A lot of them. Basically, all the other wins were against bad teams, but at least it's not like the Patriots where they're just every team's a bad team. Yeah, the only good team they've beaten is us, and then we avenged the loss.
Yeah, we beat him after that.
But really, I mean, with Carl's, this comment here is finding a way to confuse Lawrence, reverting him back to where he started is kind of really what we do have to do. And the one game that I noticed that I was watching today was I think it was right after the Jacoby Myers trade, right around there, was the Arizona Cardinals versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence threw 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Yep. And really, Jacksonville defense is kind of, you can almost compare it with Buffalo. They have a little bit better pieces, but what Arizona had to do was to deploy a lot of disguised blitzes and a lot of disguised coverages. And that's where Trevor Lawrence threw his mistakes. He threw one that was, he threw one in the end zone that was behind the back. So that's an inaccurate pass that we just discussed. And then another one that was kind of reminiscent of Terrell Bernard just watching tape was really just a disguised coverage. Linebacker was showing a blitz, pop back, showed that he was going to go to the flat, stopped and took a ball away in the middle of the field. Stuff like that is where you can still get to Trevor Lawrence and get that down. And at that point, Arizona almost did pull off that win. Only had 134 rushing yards for Jacksonville. And then Brissett had to throw 49 times because they were using Bam Knight that whole
300 yards in that game, though.
And he had 300 yards, one touchdown.
With Michael Wilson and Trey McBride.
Yeah, exactly. And then you had Trey McBride, right? And Brock
yards.
Bowers, I mean, mind you, he is number 1 by a gap, but the Raiders almost beat the Jaguars because Brock Bowers went off that game.
Michael Wilson Wilson had 10 for 118 in this game.
Greg Dortch had a good game.
Yeah, Dortch did too.
The Shakir type.
Wilson's a Gabe Davis type. I think Gabe can be a fill-in to do. I think Gabe Davis can do everything that Michael Wilson can do.
He's just not as explosive.
I think he's just a little bit quicker.
I don't even know. I don't even know if he's that much more explosive.
I like Michael Wilson. I've been a Michael Wilson fan.
I've been a Michael Wilson fan.
I'm a hater.
He's like a third down reliable guy.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
But that game,
stylistically, it makes sense.
Yeah, Arizona, stop, like they use their cornerbacks and run defense. That's what we do, like Benford and Trey White, because Etienne has to run outside and dial those up. They use a lot of screen passes. They use a lot of flats, and that's just making sure that Tre'Davious White and Christian Benford tackle well and cover quickly, and then just don't give them any explosive plays.
Man, that reminds me, man. It makes me depressed about Max, because Max, even on, like, his main question was the run defense, and he's been so good against the run. I feel like this year. I mean, he just looks like he's just tackling sound. You rarely see him whiff on anybody. I mean, he had a really good one this past game. I mean,
this draft class is shaping up to be Bean's second best besides 2018, because he could draft like 3 Hall of Famers in one draft. It'll never be better than 18 because he got Allen
for sure.
Like he could literally draft like a Hall of Fame linebacker, safety, and running back in one class, and it won't be 2018
Josh Allen trusts it.
Because
Josh Walker and Harrison are 2 of the best picks he's had.
Yep. TJ Sanders is
looking
good.
Sanders
looks really good.
He's finding it out. He's figuring it out.
That's true.
And Hawes is the best role player you possibly could have drafted.
Who?
Yeah.
Hawes. He's like he's
like
a perfect role player.
Perfect.
He's never going to be an elite tight end, but he's the best tight end 3 in football. He'd be a decent tight end 2.
Cromer had his hand in that. I did not see a blocking tight end coming at that point. Like, I knew a blocking tight end, but not like the best blocking tight end. And that report came out that Cromer told him that he was like, this is the best blocking tight end I've ever coached, sort of thing. Cromer had to have seen something and been like, yo, draft this guy.
Yeah. Then, because now we don't have to run the 6 offensive line as much. Right. And now when we're on 13 personnel, there's a threat of a pass instead of, Alec Anderson's on the field, they're running the ball. Now there's that threat of the pass, which really opens things up. We play action with our tight ends becomes much more like we get a lot more open looks on that. Like in that one against the first touchdown against the Jets. I mean, granted, it's the Jets, but Knox and Hawes were so wide open. I didn't even see Knox be that wide open because I just saw Hawes get wide open, and I see him throw the other way, and I look over, and Knox is even more wide open, and I'm like, oh my God. All the linebackers just completely bit, and then they're standing there like they don't know what's going on.
What do you think's happened with Trubisky being so much more I mean, the last few times I've seen him in playing time, he's looked really solid. Like he clearly can throw the ball. I mean, he's always had a strong arm. He's mobile. He is kind of, in a lot of ways, if he's willing to be the second quarterback and not want another starting job, he kind of is a good downgraded Josh Allen replacement,
I think he just likes where he's at.
Because he's just kind of aggressive, and he's just like, if I sit back and be conservative, we're not going to be able to do anything.
That was his problem before in a lot of ways.
Yeah, let me just rip some throws and trust. Let me just rip some throws and trust my arm, and hope and right the ship until Allen comes back.
Yeah, I think
Josh Allen just tells them, be yourself. Like, I think a lot of teams tell backup quarterback, as you can see when the game plans change, you run the ball 80% of the time. That loses confidence in you as a quarterback, sort of thing. So I'm sure Josh Allen's telling them, hey, when you go in, you be you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think they're all saying that to him. I think that they let him throw like 20 passes in the first half. I was kind of jealous. I'm like, why don't they let Allen throw the ball 20 times in the first half?
Allen was calling the plays.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. All right, so let's do our predictions before we get out of here. Who wants to go first?
We gonna do full playoff or just the game? I feel like
let's pick them all. Let's pick Buffalo first, and then let's go from there.
All right, I got Buffalo winning this 27-24. If they lose this game, I'm going to be even more pissed because I just spent $250 to get a ticket and a hotel to drive down there. I will be going to the game. Granted, crazy though, ticket prices have jumped up to like $350, $400, the cheapest you can get now.
I know.
I got them last night for $190.
My buddy's season ticket holders were looking for tickets, and I told them because you met them, and I was like, Miley got them for $190. He goes, how the did he get those for $190?
I was basically buying them as I was walking out of the game. Nice. I waited. I had to call my friend, because one of my friends is a JAX fan. He grew up in Jacksonville, and I met him in college. He lives up here now, but he called me last week. He's like, if we're going into Jacksonville, we going down? And I'm like, hell yeah. And so we decided to go down, and I called him as soon as I got back to my tailgate, and I'm like, we in? All right, and I bought the tickets right there at 7:30.
They might have to. We might have so many people there. They'll have to remove the ads from the top deck, so they can clear some seats out.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, but my long-winded story of I have the Bills winning 27-24. I think Josh Allen in the playoffs. I think we match up better on paper than people think, and I think it'll turn out to be a good win for us.
All right. Go ahead, Randall.
Yeah, I got Buffalo winning. I got Buffalo winning 31-21. I think that we end up at least taking the command, and then fourth quarter, 4 minutes left, we kick a field goal to make it 2 possessions, and then they're scratching at the end.
I was gonna say 27-24 as well, and it's not just because the Jags Cardinals game is sitting in front of me right here, but it just feels like fate being 27-24.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the next one. And I kind of agree with that too. I think that maybe this is a 27-17 game late, and they score and then have to get an onside kick, and it doesn't happen. Something like that.
Yeah.
You know. Okay, so next game, let's go Chargers Patriots.
I think the Patriots do take this one. I think the Chargers have a legitimate shot. I think the Chargers are a better team, but at being in New England, like if they played in a neutral field or if they played in LA, I would probably pick the Chargers. But I think in New England, the Chargers have to travel all the way across the country. And I'm assuming Milton Williams is probably gonna be back for this game. That Chargers O-line is terrible. Barmore and Milton Williams will be able to eat up. And I think I think New England will win 21-17.
All right.
Yeah, I got New England winning. What'd you say, 27-17?
21-17.
I got New England winning 27-17. I think really all you said kind of makes sense. I would say the puncher's chance would be getting 2 interceptions on Drake May. If LA can get 2 interceptions from their DBs, and then Jim Harbaugh can probably make it work. If Rondé Gadsden can go well as a rookie in the playoffs, and then Quentin Johnson keep his hands like he has this year, I think that's their puncher's chance, but that's about it.
I'm going to take the Chargers. I'm going to be different. I think, I think just they have a puncher's chance. I'm not sure that they're actually going to win, but I'll pick them. I think it's going to be close. I think if they can get some pressure on May early and get him out of rhythm a little bit, kind of like we did in the second half against him, I think it plays well into what they want to do. I also think that they struggle a little bit stopping the run. I think that they're going to try to pound the ball. I think the Chargers are going to kind of play Jim Harbaugh's style of football, where he wants to ground and pound them a little bit in the winter. And I think that the other reason I think the Chargers have a puncher's chance is because this is Herbert's 3rd time in the playoffs. May's never been there. Diggs is kind of having a weird week. And it'll be a weird couple weeks.
The distractions with him and Barmore are something to
watch. As a Bills fan, we already knew that Diggs was a choker. So
yeah, exactly. And you're right. Diggs' worst performances are always in the playoffs late. His body wears down. He doesn't. The cold weather does wear on him a little bit at the end of the day.
The only good year he was 2020.
Yeah, and that was when the offense was just explosive. And really, it was just like one game in the playoffs. It was just that.
Right.
But what I would say is, I think that this is a pressure cooker game for them to really see, hey, are you for real? Or yes, you're just a team that feasts on bottom dweller teams like the Dolphins did 2 years ago. I think that's really what we're going to find out in this game. Now, if the Patriots win, so be it. They're going to play most likely the Texans, right?
If
and that
the
means
Patriots
we go to Denver.
Win,
yeah.
Oh no, if the Chargers win,
the Chargers win, they go to Denver.
If the Chargers win, they go to Denver.
If not,
if New England wins, they host Houston. Yes.
If not, we'll go to Denver, which I prefer over Houston.
Which I believe will be in Denver.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
We'll be in Denver.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say I think it's gonna be close. 21-16 Chargers.
Ooh. All right. I got 21-7 Houston Pitt. I think they only
okay. Yeah. All right.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
Go ahead.
I got 2013 Houston over Pitt.
What did you say, Randall?
21-7.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm trying to be optimistic.
Yeah.
They don't ever blow anyone out. That's the thing. So that's where I kind of play like 16-13 Houston.
Yep. Yeah, similar to mine.
Yeah.
I think like Rodgers might be able to get like a deep ball to DK with how aggressive the Texans play. They could get a big touchdown that way.
This could flip for me. I think that this is going to be closer than people think, and I think that it could flip on a big play if Rodgers can get enough time. The reason I can't pick them is because both of their edge rushers are so good, and the offensive line for Pitt is very mediocre. I think they're going to feast. And Aaron can't move like he used to. You can tell when he gets pressured, they really fall apart. So
100%.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I am with that. So, all right, there's the AFC. What about NFC? We want to go there?
Sure, we'll go over there.
Rams,
we'll go
Panthers.
to
Rams.
31-17 Rams. I think it's a blowout that maybe the Panthers
won the last time.
Yeah, do you think the Panthers are beating
way early in the first quarter?
Do you think the Panthers are going to beat the Rams again?
Yeah, no way.
Stafford's also a playoff riser.
Yeah, and Panthers don't know what they're doing yet. They're 8-9.
Yeah, good trajectory for them, but they're not there yet.
Yeah, I think this is a good building block year for Bryce Young. I think that it
for sure
validates some of their investment at this point. I don't know if you re-sign him or not. Definitely exercise a 5th year and then figure out where to go from there. I think that's where we are with him. I think he has a 5th year this year that he has to exercise because it's after year 3.
Yep.
I'm going to say the same. I think it's going to be 28-10.
Yeah.
Rams.
Green Bay, Chicago is a good one.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I want to say Green Bay, but I think I'm going to trust Ben Johnson in Chicago. And I think they take this game based on Jordan Love being out for a while, coming back, and Ben Johnson just being able to dial up the offense. And I think they take it.
I think Green Bay takes this. I mean, they've just played in Chicago. How long ago was it? Like a couple weeks ago. And it took Jordan Love being out and Romeo Doubs to drop an onside kick for them to win that game in overtime. I think if Jordan Love played that entire game, they kind of would have ran away with it a little bit more. I'm not saying it's going to be like a blowout, but I do have the Packers winning 21-17.
I think if Micah Parsons was playing, it would be like, I think this game would get bad
for sure.
quickly.
Yeah.
Because I think that Green Bay had an argument to be the best team in football for a portion of the year when Parsons was on his game.
And Tucker Kraft.
Yeah, like it's so hard. And they only lost by 6 to the Bears. I think this moment's gonna be a little big for Caleb, and I think he's gonna fade a little bit. I'm gonna take Packers 22-15.
All right, I'm the lone one on that.
Yeah, I mean, I would have. It's not a bad pick. I mean, I know I'm on the fence with it as well. I just think that it's another big moment for a second-year quarterback. He's never been in it before, and Caleb's been kind of weird with his, I don't know, the way he approaches. I feel like some of the maturity issues come out when the big game lights are on with Caleb.
Yeah.
And then last is Niners Eagles.
I got the Eagles winning 17-14.
Yeah, it's gonna be low scoring.
Yeah, definitely going to be low scoring. I got San Fran that sounds about right at like 17-13. I got San Fran.
Yeah, me too. I think San Fran. I know San Fran kind of choked away the game this week, but they seem to be kind of resilient this year. I think the Eagles are a little bit of paper champions. They're kind of riding on their high still. I'll say like 24-14 Niners.
All right, and then I got one quick question. How far do you think the Bills make in the playoffs?
Realistically, I mean, what do you think the chances are? What I think is going to happen? What I think is possible can happen, or what I think is,
what is your objective, most realistic pick?
If we can win on Sunday, I think then we're Super Bowl bound, in my opinion. I think getting through Jacksonville is a tough and heavy bout to do. And then I think that we can just ascend from there, because then we can kind of run. We can kind of don't have to look behind. I think we can match up fine against Denver. I think our offense can score enough points for sure. And then we can bait Bo Nix in short passes and just deep passes. That's not an issue.
Yep.
I really think we take a third bout against New England. And I really do think that a Houston second bout we can take. I think that we take the AFC if we can take this week.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I agree with everything you're saying, and I think we have a decent shot at winning the AFC, and I think we're the best team in the AFC. With that being said, we haven't won a game in Houston since 2006. Probably our worst offensive performance each of the last 2 years was in Houston. Their defense against us, we're not a great road team. And I just think that if I'm trying to be as objective as possible and taking out how much I want the Bills to win it all, I'm going to say we lose in the AFC Championship game to Houston. But that's not me saying we're cooked and we have no chance. I could also see us, if we go on a run, I'm not going to be surprised if we go on to make the Super Bowl, even win the Super Bowl. I'll be like, I think this team can do it. Mm-hmm. I just think our most objective, realistic chance is losing to Houston in the AFC Championship game.
So I think I think we can. I mean, I feel much better right now about the NFC than I did 3 weeks ago about being able to compete in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago was like still hoping we can maybe win the division. And, I'm like, oh man, if we play the Rams who have fallen off the face of the earth or something, we might have some trouble. But I'm looking at it now in a lot of ways and going, okay, we could peak at the right time with our defense. We could play well enough to win a Super Bowl. Yeah, we are kind of, right? So, I mean, I think the Eagles game was weird with the rain and we were in a little bit of a weird place, I think, with that game. No Kincaid. Like, it just was an oddball game. I think we could have and should have won that one. We outperformed them on every metric statistically, and we lost, which is what the Eagles do to you, by the way. The Eagles do this every single year. They beat teams. You're like, how the hell did they win that game? If you just didn't look at the score. There were 2 for 11 on third down. So I'll say this before I give you my objective opinion. I think that there's definitely a chance they've got a shot. The hard part is going to be everything's most likely on the road. There's a very slim chance we get another home game, which is unfortunate. Although the script could play perfectly into that. We think that it's over at Highmark and then it comes back. That'd be really cool.
Right.
I think realistically, because it's just mine's less about the opponent and more about the gauntlet we're going to have to go through week to week on the road, at least for the first 2 weeks. And the most likely scenario is that we end in the divisional round and win one game. Although I will say this, if we do win that first game, I think that there's a good chance that we can go on a little run here. But it's just hard to quantify and objectively say that with the type of holes we have on the roster. That's my main issue, is that we have some deficient, serious weaknesses. Allen's going to have to go nuclear a couple games. The defense is going to have to play above their skis a little bit for a couple games. And we're just going to have to coach really, the coaching staff's going to have to do their job the way they need to do their job instead of, they can't have any mistakes, basically, if they do those things, that we've got a good shot. But the odds of that happening, I think, are kind of slim. And that's why I say, even if we beat Jacksonville, we could easily slip up in round 2 because it's just another week of going on the road, a 2,000-mile trip, or a 1,500-mile trip to Houston right after freaking Jacksonville.
Denver, yeah.
It's back to back. So, and then the Denver game, another 2,000-mile trip, right? We're going to be flying a lot for the next 3 weeks. So that's my main caveat. What I will say is I think this is the most open in a lot of ways. The AFC really is a wide open race of a bunch of teams that are different, have different flaws. And I think that's the thing. And we're the best quarterback in football playing in the playoffs. So anything can happen.
I also think it's the deepest, though. Last year, it was us,
no
Baltimore, KC, and it's those wild card teams.
Yeah.
You felt nothing about those. All right, this year, I think there's only one team in the AFC that's weak. And even that team is better than they were last year in the playoffs.
Right? Oh yeah. I totally agree. I think that's the main thing is it is deep. And that's the part with the gauntlet. This is the wrong year to have a 6th seed and not win your division, because being at home will be really a good asset to have moving forward in these playoffs. And honestly, the fact where these places are located, Pittsburgh, I would love if Pittsburgh won, because it's basically oh my God, we won't have to travel 250 miles,
Sure. Or New England,
Or New England, right? We won't be able to play them until the AFC Championship game, though. So, ideally, if Pittsburgh goes down, really New England is kind of the team you want to root for, honestly.
For better or worse, we haven't traveled that much this year. So at least there's not a lot of tread on there's a lot of tread on those tires. So hopefully they use that to their advantage instead of it being newer to them. They just, burn it out.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, you got anything else?
No,
not that I can. I had something, but I completely
lost. Go Bills, go Sabes.
Yeah, go Bills, go Sabes, and hopefully, are you guys in the playoffs?
No, we're.
Not in the playoffs, but
out, right?
Are you outside?
We're 1 point out of but it's so close, and a couple of the teams ahead of us, we have games in hand. We have out of the 5 spots we could be in, we have games in hand down 4 of the teams. So
who's the giant dude who visited practice the other day? He's a giant.
Paul Skeens?
Yeah, he's like way taller than Josh Allen.
Met Josh Allen?
Yeah, they exchanged jerseys.
Paul Skeens.
That was Paul Skeens.
Pirates.
He's a pitcher.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I didn't know who it was. So I was like,
yeah,
that
he's
dude's
a
hockey player. I didn't know who that was. I don't watch
it's
baseball.
Weird. I kind of find it weird how they did that meetup because he plays in Pittsburgh. But I mean, it's close. But like, I haven't seen Skeens go to the Steelers facility, but then he came and met Josh Allen. So I
think he just wanted to meet Josh Allen and go to a Bills game because I know that they were taught. They knew DeMar Hamlin. I know that, but I'm not sure. I think they just want to visit.
Makes sense.
Dude, how tall is he? He's got to be 6'8".
Yeah, he's huge.
He's
huge. He's my favorite non-Yankees player in the league. I've loved Paul Skeens since he was a prospect. He is an absolute beast.
Oh my God, he was unreal pitching in college. I
didn't like him.
He was a reason why the Razorbacks did. LSU pitchers are the reason why Razorbacks don't win college championships. It drives me nuts. Anderson last year, Skeens that year.
Skeens pissed me off because I like being a Gators fan. That team was so good, and then Skeens and that outfield Dylan Cruz were just like because we had Langford and Jack Caglione, and like the Gators and LSU were just those were clearly the two best teams. They were so dominant, and we just couldn't overcome Skeens and Cruz.
We had Hagen Smith who would have been the best pitcher without Paul Skeens, and we were ready to rock and roll.
Fourth overall to
he went fourth to the White Sox. Yeah.
He's listed at 6'6", 260. I mean, he was 3 inches taller than Josh easily.
Sure.
So I'm like,
he
must have grown.
Absolute heat.
All right, fellas, I gotta get out of here.
All right, yeah, man. All right, guys. Please like, share, subscribe. We'll see you next time.
For the best Italian food in Western New York, Elliot Apollos, call 716-825-3675. The Lardon Construction Group.
Fubo TV, the official streaming service of Dew Champions. FanDuel, the official sportsbook of Dew Champions.
For all your summertime needs, beauty pools, as well as kayak pools.
CX Chronicles, your total customer solutions focused manager. W.GG, the official energy drink of Dew Champions.
Hey, Sons of Erie, our artwork looks better on your walls. Hamburg Brewing, please visit our tap room on Boston State Road, Hamburg, New York. And finally,
Fat Boy Surf Club for all your surfing needs.